Should the Ravens trade Mark Andrews? It's a question I've been asked a lot. It's a question I've seen a lot on social media. And today, Friday, we're going to get into it. But before we do, we've got the game coming up in 2 days. We've had the week-long sub battle, and we've still got the lead. Only by 11, though. And I'm gonna be honest with you guys. It hasn't been an easy week in the office, okay? I've had to hear my friend and host of the Raiders Report, Mitchell Renz, say some pretty horrible things. He said, what a joke that channel and that organization is. First off, only 18K subs. I remember doing that 5 years ago. And don't even get me started with that team and fan base. They've only been around for 28 years? If they disappeared into the Atlantic Ocean, I don't think anyone would notice. Are y'all going to let him say that about us? Not only about us here on the channel, but the Ravens fans as a fan base, the city of Baltimore? Let's not let that happen. Let's take him down, and let's prove that although we're quite a bit smaller than the Raiders Report, man, we got a lot of heart, and we got a lot of love. So go ahead, hit that sub button, join the channel. We've got over 18,000 of us, and let's take down the Raiders. Because, hey, we're not just playing them on the field, we're playing them here on YouTube as well. And that's the fun part of this job. I absolutely love it. So now, let's get into the burning question. Should the Ravens trade Mark Andrews? Okay, again, I've seen it a lot in the comment section. I've seen it a lot on Twitter. He didn't have a great showing Thursday night against Kansas City. And I'm going to give you my short answer, and then I'll go into it. Short answer, no. No, they shouldn't. It's about as short as you can be. Not only is it one word, it's 2 letters. The only shorter word is the word I. But that wouldn't make any sense. Anyway, let's talk about this for a little bit. I think he does so much for this team, and he does so much for Isaiah Likely within a game that I think getting rid of him would just be flat out silly. And I know a lot of people saw Isaiah Likely's performance and were thinking, but Joey, he absolutely balled out, right? We don't need Mark Andrews anymore. Well, we'll go into it in just a little bit, but part of the reason that Isaiah Likely had such a good game was because of Mark Andrews, right? Was because of what 89 did for him. But because of what 89 just did in offense in general. So that's my short answer. It's no. Well, let's talk about it, right? Because I'm not just going to sit here, say no, and then leave you hanging. I got to tell you why, okay? But before I do that, you guys let me know your answer. Should the Ravens trade Mark Andrews? Let me know in the comment section. Type Y for yes and type in for no. You know I'm typing in, right? You know I'm spamming it. You let me know down below in the comment section. So let's talk about this game against the Chiefs because it wasn't pretty, right? 2 targets, 2 receptions, 14 yards, and 11 yards was his longest. But it wasn't pretty for a reason. And that's because, Kansas City does a lot to limit him. And of the times that he was available to catch passes, he either didn't get targeted or he didn't caught it. Okay? 1 dump-off opportunity, no target. The first 3 in the first half, bottom 3 in the second half. This comes from Andy Holloway. 1 dump-off opportunity, caught, penalty, negated. Another dump-off opportunity, no target. So he's there, right? Over the middle opportunity, 1-on-1, catch. 1 dump-off opportunity, no target. And then 1 flat opportunity, and that was a catch. Now, a little embarrassing. He did slip. It was on a pretty big play. You hate to have that happen. That doesn't help his resume. But, guys, he was there. He was open, just wasn't really targeted. And let's talk about the game that Likely had, because that's a big reason why a lot of you guys are like, just get him out. Let's just keep the young kid, right? He's doing phenomenal, and he was. He was phenomenal. He was my biggest winner. He was the biggest star. It was absolutely fantastic. He had 9 catches, 111 yards, and a touchdown. And not only that, but you add in his PFF grade, it was 91.8. It was 91.8. That was the highest for any offensive player through the first week of football. He was an absolute star. But a lot of it, again, was because Mark Andrews is out there and because Kansas City was paying so much attention to him. And the thing that I loved about this game that kind of differentiated itself from pretty much every game last season. And again, I know Mark Andrews was hurt and was out for a good bit of last season, but they ran a ton of 12 personnel. You saw Andrews and you saw Likely both on the field at the same time a lot of the game. 52.7% of the game, the Ravens were in personnel. Last year, the highest through the entire season was 23.6. This team knows they have two absolute weapons in tight ends, and they put them out there on the same time. And I talked about it against his career against Kansas City. This is a theme, okay? If you take every Kansas City game that he's had in his career, you'd think he was the worst tight end ever. But Steve Spagnuolo and I guess Andy Reid knows how big of a problem they can be, and every single time it's their mission, okay, let's take him out of this game. Their first career game against the Chiefs, December 9th, 2018, 2 targets, 0 receptions. Then after that, 7 targets, 3 receptions, 15 yards. And then a year after that, 8 targets, 3 receptions, 22 yards. Year after that, 5 targets, 5 receptions, 57 yards. That was his best against the Chiefs ever. And then 2 targets, 2 receptions, 14 yards. So this isn't the first time this has happened. This seems to be a theme anytime that the Kansas City Chiefs play the Ravens. They want to take Andrews away, and they were able to do that. But just because they were able to do that, like they've done the entire career, that was obviously the game plan going into it, doesn't mean you need to trade him. Doesn't mean that he's washed. And I'll get into that in just a little bit. But before I do, I got to give a shout out of today's sponsor, and that, of course, is Game Time. Guys, if you're looking for a place that you can get last-minute tickets and flash deals, that you can get views from your seat, and the lowest price guaranteed, you're going to want to give Game Time a shot. So head on over to the Game Time app, because if you're excited the season's finally here and want to get tickets to the big game locked down, you're going to want to give Game Time a shot. Game Time is the only place I go when I'm trying to get tickets to any college football or NFL game. And the awesome thing about Game Time is they have a brand new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play live even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. The tool highlights the best deals, including great and amazing deals, which are the highest value seats at the time. For some events, Game Time picks out and identifies a super deal, which is the best seat value in the venue. Guys, these super deals, you're going to want to lock them down. And that's the great thing about right now. And the Raiders versus Ravens, you've got a couple super deal options. So head on over to the Game Time app, look at the tickets, pick out where you want to sit, and then in moments you are checking out. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time, download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It's game time. So my biggest thing about why I don't think the Ravens should trade Mark Andrews is because he just seems to do too much that's not in the stat sheet. And we already talked about how he kind of takes up targets, right? He was absolutely bracketed against the Chiefs. So that's allowing other people to be open, right? That's just math. If you put 2 people on him, you're going to have one less person put on someone else. And Isaiah likely benefited from that. But let's look at what he does from a blocking perspective. Because in the last 4 years, he averages a 68.85 run blocking grade and a 71.86 pass blocking grade. And I know if you look at the PFF numbers for how he did against Kansas City again, it wasn't great in either of those fronts. But again, that's one game. And you're going up against one of the best defensive lines in football. But for the majority, for the last 4 years, he has been absolutely stellar as a blocker, either in the run game or the pass game. And the only way at the end of the day I do a trade is if you can absolutely just fleece somebody. I'm talking like get a second round pick for a guy who just turned 29, right? I would do that. I think that's like, I don't want to say no-brainer, but that would be great. But if you're going to offer me like a 5th or a 6th rounder and a guy who's going to play 3 snaps a game, get out of my face, right? Like, leave. The door's that way. Oops, sorry, talk to the hand. You know what I'm saying? He just, guys, I can't reiterate it enough. I know you saw the game Isaiah likely had. And you're saying, why do we have this old fart on our team, right? Get him out of here. But Isaiah likely had the game that he had because Mark Andrews was there. And I'm not saying that Isaiah likely is incapable of ever having that game again if Mark Andrews is not on this team. But Mark Andrews played bigger role as anybody in the game that Isaiah Likely had. So no, don't trade him. Keep him on this team. You don't have deep enough wide receivers. You got the deepest tight end room in the National Football League. So keep it that way. What percent chance do you guys think that Mark Andrews gets traded? I'm sitting I don't think it's above 10. I think it's really, really low. But some of you might think it's higher. So let me know down there in the comment section. Thanks so much for joining me today. It's Friday. Happy weekend to everybody. We're 2 days away from Baltimore Ravens football. Let's freaking go.